I am from love, from the smell of tiger's blood. I am from the zoo, full of scary animals, wild animals. It tasted like blood. I am from the soul of the tiger's blood. I see lots of different people working, eating in cages so nobody can touch them. I am from hot air and gates, from the pipes of the toilet and big rocks. I am from redwood, the taste of wood, and movement from tigers and wild birds. I am from the blood of tigers, strong, evil cubs picked up and sleeping under arms of tigers. I am from food and neighbors, good smells in tigers' cages, dirt from blood and noodles to the zoo, animals, people, moving, walking. The Great Migration was a movement of 6 million black Americans from the Jim Crow South to the North from 1916 to 1970. They moved to escape the post-Reconstruction racism of the South. They also moved to find new economic opportunities, education, and cultural experiences. The chances they took to explore, encounter, and exchange led to a new and different America and a different life for me. These are the women of my family: me, my cousin Candace, my grandmother, and my mommy. My grandmother was born in a small town called Chadron, North Carolina in 1950. In 1955, she left her hometown to move north to Baltimore with her mother, Juanita. This made her the third generation of my family to take part in the Great Migration.
Olivia, blacks that migrated from the South, coming north and going to Midwest, and the eastern part of the country, they not only brought their own culture with them, with food and music and reading. They also were exposed to people that were coming from different parts of the country and different worlds with their cultures, which affected the way they cooked, their food, the way they dressed. Um, what they how they reared their children, their family structure. It also affected what they did when it came to educating their children, what became important, to the family structure. They became a part of a more diverse community. Meaning, the first person in our family to migrate up north, to my knowledge, was my grandmother, and her name was Ida Purdy. Then she was followed by her daughter, who was my mother, and her name was Juanita. Yep, my mother and your great grandmother migrated here to go to school. She came here to go to nursing school. Um, Provident Hospital had one of the few nursing programs that allowed people of color to attend. And after she finished school, she went back down to North Carolina to live. But she didn't stay. She couldn't stay because she couldn't find a job, as a nurse because of the segregation, that we talked about before. No one would hire, so she came back to Baltimore. We moved in the 2800 block of West Lanville Street. In fact, it was 2855 West Lanville Street. It's the first time I've ever seen a house with more than one floor. Because we lived in one house. Like I tell you, like the shotgun houses, everything. I mean, we lived on one floor. That's how the houses were made. And everything was right there, Um, there were Jewish people in the neighborhood, black people in the neighborhood. Um, Chinese people had the laundromat at the corner. Our school was across the street. We went to 145. That was the first time I ever went to school with a white teacher. Because in North Carolina, at that time, all our teachers were black. Everybody in the school was black.
Oh, it was like real segregated?
Yeah, it was very segregated. The principal was black, the teachers was black, the janitors was black, the cooks were black.
Did you have white people in your town?
Yeah, but you only saw them like when you when you go, they come pick your grandmother up to go work in the fields.
Oh.
Or you went uptown on Saturday. That was a big thing. As you got older, you were allowed to go uptown, and they had stores and things like that. Okay. Some stores you could go into, and some stores you couldn't.
Oh,
you couldn't go into the movie, and you couldn't go to the first floor in the movie. You had to go up the steps and go in the balcony to go to the movie.
So when you came to Baltimore, was that different? Like, was it a different experience or a better experience?
Very different.
I mean, as far as the racism.
As a child, I didn't realize that it was racist. But as you grow older, you begin to pick up and understand, well, damn, now I know why he didn't take my money from my hand, because he didn't want a black person touching him. And that was the situation with the man that owned the corner store. We used to sell clothes hangers, metal clothes hangers, 2 for a penny. And the white folks, we did, the kids in that community.
Oh. Where did you get it from?
Off our parents' clothes, anybody. And we would sell them. And
people bought them?
Yeah, the cleaners would buy them. You know, and they would, you later you realize, we understand we were some little girls that grew up in the country. When we first came to Baltimore, we were just amazed at the lights. My sister and I, my oldest sister and I, we were really amazed at the lights. And I never forget, my sister looked at me and she said, Cheryl. I said, huh? She said, you scared? I said, I'm scared. She said, I'm scared too. We were brought here by my aunt to my mother. And the first thing I remember, and I think I'll always remember, is that my mother had some vegetable soup and beef sausage that she'd cooked for dinner. And I remember us being in there, and eating it. And the next day, I got my first pair of tennis shoes. My mother bought us tennis and bought us little sunsets to wear, And we were kids that grew up in overalls and brogans. Brogans are like what y'all call boots now. And what y'all call fashionable boots, they were brogans, Because, we were in the country and that's what my grandma could afford, to give us. And my mother bought us tennis and clothes. My brother took us to the movies, and it was amazing because, think about it, I'm 5, 6 years old, and I'm going to the movies, setting, and I can walk up there. My brother paid the people, and we got popcorn, and we went in the movie. And I just sat there, and I was scared to death. I couldn't tell you the name of the movie because we were in, it was just so different. We walked, we lived in a pretty house, we had grass, we had a grapevine. We had an inside toilet. Now, in North Carolina, we had a toilet, but it was connected to the porch. The outside, on the porch. But we had we didn't have to take a bath in a tub.
What you mean a tub?
They had a big round tub we used to take a bath in on Saturday nights. Uh-huh.
The Great Migration exposed America to a social change that forced the civil rights movement to happen. As a result of the Great Migration, my grandmother, my mother, and even me are able to experience American culture that is not just limited to one group. I am able to receive a good education and have opportunities that might not be possible if my grandmother didn't migrate.